BMW camshaft-less engine training course. MEC engines we will talk about, not MEP. We are discussing MOP, main operating panel, and local operating panel. This is module 5, chapter 3, navigation bars. In this navigation bar, we have section what is called cylinder lubrication. So we'll talk about cylinder lubrication. Alpha lubricators are used, but the operation is with the hydraulic pressure. So we'll see how the working is carried out. All right. Thank you. Enjoy the course. On this navigation bar, there are three sub-navigating bars: hydraulic system, scavenging, and cylinder lubrication. So now we come to cylinder lubrication. Cylinder lubrication navigation bar allows the operator to monitor flow. This is the order amount. This is the order lube oil amount in liters per hour. Basic feed rate. This is calculated rate for the complete lubricator system in gram per kilowatt hour. Actually, this is sulfur percentage into the feed rate factor. Feed rate factor is something is standard. Man has decided 0.23 to 0.27 something. Actual feed rate, the bar graph for each inducer LCD, load change dependent, show the actual feed rate per cylinder in gram per kilowatt hour. So flow, order lube oil amount in liters per hour, basic feed rate, and actual feed rate. In this case, flow, total liter per hour. This total amount of lube oil consumed till the power up. Okay. Pre-lube, of course, the engine running that time it will be off. Otherwise, it will be on when you're running during. You can do manually also. Prepare start, and otherwise you can do the manual pre-lube also. LCD off if you want to, sulfur percentage. So whatever the fuel sulfur you are using, you can put the sulfur percentage. Actually, as per the sulfur SOx emission control area, you are to use 0.1 or 0.5 maximum, isn't it? 0.1 to 0.5. And but you can use even fuel having sulfur percentage more, in case you're using exhaust gas cleaning system. So accordingly, you can set the sulfur percentage, and the amount of lube oil will be converted to as per the sulfur content. Feed rate. So this will multiply by whatever your basic feed rate into your sulfur percentage. But there will be a minimum feed rate that you can set. Okay. Whatever they calculate, suppose you reduce sulfur percentage 2, the feed rate will become low. So minimum feed rate you can control. Okay. Whatever happens, lube oil, so much lube oil has to go. All right. And this is actual amount of feed rate is this one is being shown here. Normally they should be always same, but they can vary. Here feed rate adjust factor. Amount of feed rate depending on when you visually carry out the inspection. You see the liner condition. You can change. Actual feed rate. Number 3 so 4, number 5 less, number 2 more, something. Running in, how many gram per kilowatt hour you want to give extra? Liner has been replaced. Liner was changed. New piston ring, piston ring. So running in, you change. Earlier, manually person used to go and turn the lubricator cranks. So you give the more lube oil, cylinder oil. Hey, no need. All right. This is lubricator test sequence. This is done only when engine is stopped. Purpose is when you change the lube oil coil, you want to check no leakages, etc. Otherwise, you have started the engine and at sea you find leakage in lube oil coil. Now stop. Be in a panic situation. So this can be done. Once you change, you carry your work on lube oil coil, check it up. Everything is fine. Remember, test sequence has to be carried out only when engine is in stop, when it is port. So this feed rate factor you can change from here. Okay. All right. So at chief level, of course, you can change and monitor whatever you want. Okay. Now, module 4.2. Now, video 3. So, total. The total display shows the total ordered amount of lubricating oil used since last power up of the ECU. Okay. Pressing this display opens a toolbar with the option to reset the total amount of lubricating oil. Every time you start, you can do it. Like your certain, many cars have got how much last kilometer you are, this from point A to point B. You can reset. Some have 2, 3 points. This point to that point, then continue, then second, third, whatever. So it is something like that. Both the values flow and total are based on ordered numbers of lubrication strokes and the display's amount per stroke. So this is calculated value. Pre-lube test purposes. This button can be used for test purposes since the prepare start will cause the system to automatically perform a pre-lube activity. Remember, as I was saying, the prepare start when you carry out, automatically pre-lube operation will be carried out. So here pre-lube is only for test purposes, that is working. So when the pre-lube button is pressed, a toolbar is shown on the screen. Pressing the button on triggers a pre-lubrication on all cylinders and evaluates feedback from the lubricator. So you can see all, yes, all lubricators are working, just maybe for test purposes. Okay. Pre-lubrication can only be activated if hydraulic pressure is present. Naturally, if hydraulic pumps are not running, motor driven, of course. Engine is not running, so motor driven pump has to run. Engine is on standby, and the hydraulic startup pumps are set at manual operation and started. Then only. Otherwise, you cannot. Naturally. LCD. It will show whether load change dependent is on or off. When the LCD button is pressed, a toolbar will be displayed, which will allow the operator to disable LCD if so required. Some time they do not want because so much variation is taking place. Sometimes they do. This is up to your technical department and chief engineer, whatever he thinks is right. Sulfur percentage, activating the display sulfur percentage enables adjustment of the sulfur content equal to the sulfur content in the fuel which are you using. So if the fuel has changed, you can change the sulfur percentage as per the sulfur percentage in the present fuel. Feed rate factor, activating the display feed rate factor enables adjustment of the feed rate for all cylinders. So the display shows the feed rate at in grams per kilowatt into sulfur percentage. All right. So basic feed rate into sulfur percentage. If you become feed rate factor. Minimum feed rate. This is the minimum feed rate for all cylinder, which will go irrespective of whatever the setting is. This value is displayed in grams per kilowatt hour and is normally set at 60% of the basic recommended feed rate in gram kilowatt hour. Of course, this you have to consider, contact your engine maker, your technical department. Feed rate adjust factor. Using this adjustment, can be made to the feed rate for the individual cylinder. You can increase or decrease running in. When a cylinder is being run in, the feed rate quantity can be entered here in gram kilowatt hours. Okay, running in. Let's say liner, piston, etc. Chain, new piston things, etc. Very important. Lubricated test sequence. Pressing the lubricated test sequence starts a continuous activation of the lubricator at predetermined injection rate. It is different from pre-lube, where the injection of oil is done at the fastest possible speed. This feature is used after repairs, etc. on lubricator, enabling the engineer to manually check the lubricator for leaks and injection, as I was telling you. So it's very important to use mostly when work has been done on the fields, for example. All right. Now, very important. What happens when I CCU for unit fails? We know there are CCU carry out four function. With the CCU carry out, naturally CCU CCU not working, these for all for four function will stop. Fuel injection will stop naturally. Exhaust fire actuation will stop. Cylinder lubrication will stop. Starting air valve will not operate if required, because but in engine running you don't need this. So number three, we must continue cylinder lubrication since piston is still moving in the cylinder, because unit has failed, because CCU has failed. That means unit is actually in fact cut off, but piston is moving up and down. So you have to supply, make sure the lubrication oil is supplied, cylinder oil. How do you do that? Very important. So item three is very important for us. Till the time we replace the CCU or reboot the CCU. And emergency lubrication is possible with random timing. An emergency cable is always available on board the ship. Everybody must know, all duty engineer must know where the cable is kept. So this cable is connected to the solenoid valve of the alpha lubricator. From there to the ECU, one of the ECU, A or B, either one. In the ECU cabinet, you will find the terminal J52. Remove that and put this J52 terminal. In the J52 terminal, other end of this cable. All right. There will be terminal J52. Remove that block, and the other end of the one end has gone to the solenoid valve of the alpha lubricator. Other end put in the place where the in the J52 plug. Is a socket you can't do. No? So in case of CCU failure, where the CCU cannot be changed immediately, the cylinder lubrication can be achieved by a temporary cable from one of the ECU unit, plug 52, because that is the socket number. This is called J52 plug number 52 on the solenoid valve on the lubricator on the unit in question. All right. How to reboot CCU? I told you earlier. Put the power off, both the powers off, A and B, to the two sources, UPS and ship backup, battery backup and UPS. Both sources put off and put on again. If system revives, sometimes gets rebooted. If not, then you replace it. Replacement can be done even when engine is running. Because all the function has already stopped and you are started supplying cylinder oil already. So replace, remove this, put another one, and then start again. When it start working, increase RPM slowly once again. Remove this emergency cable,